Hi, I'm Charlie Lewis. Today I'm going to be discussing understanding negotiation in a communicatory business setting. Negotiation is an integral part of any type of business transaction. Without strong negotiation skills, success in the business world is hard to accomplish. To be a master of negotiation, one must have a strong array of communication skills. One must be able to analyze both verbal and nonverbal cues given off by the other party in order to win any given negotiation. Failure to do so can lead one to getting taken advantage of very easily. Without proper communication skills, negotiation can seem more like an argument than a business transaction. A piece by Harvard University's business program summarized this well, stating that it is possible to turn tense disputes into productive negotiations and maintain strong relationships through strong communication skills. Business is a relational game. If people dislike you, it's going to be extremely hard to build your network and clientele, as people will simply choose to give their business to someone they like. By utilizing communication techniques, it becomes possible to have a harsh negotiation while avoiding damaging the relationship. This is something that lots of people struggle with. Many believe that negotiation has a specific set of rules and customs that must be followed in order to win. But in reality, negotiation is an art. Treating negotiation communication with the same respect that we approach our everyday interactions with leads us to a more pleasant and likely more productive experience for both parties involved. When discussing the tendency of CEOs and executives to underperform when negotiating, Professor Jay Gerber of Northwestern University stated, "CEOs walk away from the table unnecessarily. They act tough, damaging the long-term relationships their business needs to thrive. By approaching negotiation with the focus on respect and finding a solution that is viable for both parties, one can better avoid making the same mistakes as these CEOs and executives." When we are approaching negotiation, it is extremely essential that we utilize intrapersonal communication and set clear guidelines and boundaries in our head. Without this, it is easy to feel unprepared when a negotiation heats up and may lead us to getting taken advantage of. We must clearly define how far we are willing to go, which points of the deal are negotiable, and which points and principles we will not allow to be infringed on. The late Nelson Mandela was a master at this. When discussing Mandela's approach to negotiation, Dr. Mukin of Harvard University stated, "He rejected the simple-minded notion that one must either negotiate with the devil or forcibly resist. He did both. He was willing to make concessions, but not about what was most important to him. With respect to his key political principles, he was unmovable." While Mandela's negotiation prowess was utilized in a political environment rather than a business one, the lesson and its application to business negotiation is clear. We must explicitly identify our boundaries and limits. Failing to do so is the quickest route to an unsuccessful negotiation. As I stated earlier in my speech, nonverbal communication is extremely important in negotiation settings. Being a skilled communicator and thus being able to pick up on nonverbal cues is a massive advantage. While people often will avoid telling you their true feelings in the negotiation process so that they don't lose leverage, they are usually discoverable with an understanding of nonverbal communication. Dr. Brooks of Harvard University stated, "Perceiving how other people are feeling is a critical component of emotional intelligence, and it is particularly key in negotiations. Those without an adequate understanding of the way humans use nonverbal communication, whether intentionally or subconsciously, will have a hard time negotiating to the best of their ability." Cues that can be analyzed include hand movement, eye contact, or the lack thereof, posture, restlessness, facial expressions, and many more. Those not well versed in communication may not think twice about these components, but they can really tell us a lot about the person or group with which we are negotiating. Negotiation is extremely tough, but by better understanding nonverbal cues, we can tip the scales in our favor. Jay Gerber of Northwestern University emphasized the high level of difficulty involved with negotiation by stating that more than 80% of CEOs and other executives leave money on the table when negotiating. Here's a visual to represent that statistic. As you can tell by this chart, even CEOs and executives who we would think would be expert negotiators often don't perform to the best of their ability. A good negotiation encompasses many of the same goals as our everyday interactions. According to the Queensland Government's business page, good negotiations help us build better relationships, deliver lasting and quality solutions to issues, and help us avoid future problems and conflicts. Clearly, negotiation is an integral part of any type of business transaction. This emphasizes the benefits of applying our accumulated real-world communication experience when we are negotiating. It is easy to make negotiation into a scary and ruthless-minded practice, when in reality, negotiation is simply another form of communication. By treating it as such, we can set ourselves up for a positive and successful interaction. Thank you for taking the time to listen to my speech. Have a good rest of your day.